Hello, and we
We're
are
live.
live. Woohoo!
We're
Woo!
live. It's alive. It's alive.
Da, 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 da. Just get things set up over here. So, welcome back, everybody. Uh, this is episode 16. Woo! Uh, talking about episodes 16 through 20
Yes. Oh, there you go.
of
Perfect. 16. We're talking about 16.
the Mobile Fighter G Gundam series.
Yes.
So, uh, and we've got some craziness going on this week. Last week, we had our heroes get rescued and get new crests on all their hands, so they're now the new Shuffle Alliance. And yeah, we're gonna find out what happens. So, um, before we get started, if this is your first time here, thank you for checking us out. Do appreciate it. Um, sorry.
Hit that like, subscribe, and share.
Yes. Yes.
We'll remind you at the end of the stream as well to also do that.
Yes.
Do it, damn it. Damn it.
Please help us.
Please. We need support. I need to pay the mortgage. Please. Actually, no,
We're
okay.
not there yet.
I haven't paid that yet. Yet. Emphasis on yet.
Yeah. But no, we do appreciate you checking us out. We're still growing, we're still learning, so making tweaks to our formula. So next week, we will be, after we get done with this week, next week we're going to be reviewing episodes 21 through 25. And then we're going to take a little bit of a break from the Gundam G Fighter series, just to kind of break things up, so we're not
not
having
episodes,
this.
people. We need a break. We need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break.
We don't want to burn ourselves out. We don't want to burn you out.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little break. We're going to do a synopsis of a short anime series. And then probably the week after that, we're probably going to review an anime movie. We're still working on the details for that one.
Yeah, we're still thinking about it.
And then we might do one more after that, just to kind of spread things out a little bit, or we might just jump right back in so we can get through the Gundam Fighter. And then we're going to start looking into branching out from doing anime series to some live action series, like Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and probably a Super Sentai, just to get the origins of what became Power Rangers.
Yeah, anime will still be around though. We won't.
Yeah.
We're not going to abandon it. We'll still talk about anime. We're just gonna.
Yeah, there's
trying
so many series to get through.
We're just trying to talk about some other stuff at least. Try to talk about that.
Yeah. So, So with all that said, we're gonna get started with episode 16. And before we start talking about it, your overall thoughts of the whole episode.
I thought this episode was good. I'm trying to remember what happened in it exactly, but it was good. It was a good episode.
It was the worst one ever. No.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it sucked. No, I know one of them is my favorite though. I think episode 19. I think was, in my opinion, the best one or my favorite one. But we'll get to that when we get to that one.
Yep. All right. Let's do this.
Begin.
So, episode 16, again, starts off with the aftermath of the last episode where the Shuffle Alliance sacrificed themselves to save the Delmon's friends, the other pilots from China, America, Russia, and England. Argo, Saisaishi, Jiminy Crockett, and George.
Yep, thank you.
So
I was like, I don't remember Argo and Crockett. I forgot the other two names.
Yeah. So we got had a pretty big fight, pretty good conclusion at that, and Master Asia retreated for the time being.
Yes.
So so it does open up, kind of, recapping that and giving everybody a good little fright. Pretty much shortly after the episode starts, there's everybody's kind of hanging out, talking, and just kind of figuring things out about what happened. And then all of a sudden, there's a big earthquake, and they all get sucked in and separated. And we get to see a shot of Master Asia with the Dark Gundam plotting against our heroes.
Yeah. Is that a Dark Gundam or is that the Devil Gundam?
Well, dark. It's called Dark Gundam.
Oh, it is? Why do they keep calling it the Devil Gundam then? Because that's what the subtitles keep telling me.
I don't know. Well, with the English dub, it's called the Dark Gundam.
Oh, okay. I haven't been watching the dub. I've been watching the subtitled version. That's why.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why I kept saying Devil Gundam, because that's what they kept calling it in the sub. That's why.
Yeah, I forgot that's what they called it originally. Like Mr. Satan is Mr. Hercule in America.
Because they can't really have people shouting out Satan. Satan.
Yeah.
Gonna know that.
So yeah, the Devil Gundam.
Yeah.
And Master Asia. So he's talking to the machine, like I said, plotting against our heroes.
Yes.
We do find that the heroes survived the fall. We get to see a couple different groups teamed up. So starts off with Rain and Jiminy Crockett running into each other, and she beats the snot out of him.
He sneaks up on her, and so she throws a punch at him.
Well, she flips him over.
Yeah,
because he comes up from behind, and she elbows him and then flips him up against the wall.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
All right, Rain. There you go.
Yeah. And she's like, "What the heck, man? Don't do that."
Yeah. I would love if Crockett said that line that Spike said one time. It was like, "I love a girl who can kick my ass," or something like
that. Yeah. So they team up and start walking together. We get the next group, which is pretty much most of the people. So we got Argo and Saisaishi's mentors. We got Jiminy Crockett's ladies, and then of course the Russian commander.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting episode with her later, which I didn't get a screenshot of. But
you suck.
I thought about it, but I was like, that's a little too close.
Is it though? It's fine, DJ. It's fine.
Try to stay family friendly.
No. Kids.
So they're kind of talking about their situation, and I think the girl's name is Bunny. She's the one with the glasses. She starts remembering that when they were abducted by Master Asia, that she remembers seeing the Devil Gundam, near where they were at, and so they're kind of spooked by that. And then we cut to Domon meeting up, or walking with Saisaishi. And as they're walking, a bunch of rats just come charging at him, which freaks Saisaishi out. So, of course, he hops on Domon and he's like, "Come on, bro, you got to save me, man. Don't leave me, bro." And Domon's like, "All right, well, if the rats are leaving, that means something's threatening up ahead." So
yeah, he mentions that animals usually run away when another predator or something bigger is nearby.
Yeah. So I forget. Do they follow the rats out at that point?
No. What Domon does is that he follows where the rats are running from, and then says
that's right.
After him. Yeah.
So they go running off down the tunnels because Saisaishi doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to Rain and Jiminy, and George ends up meeting up with them.
George.
And George and Jiminy have a little bit of a confrontation because George is a very gentlemanly and doesn't believe a lady should be left alone with a rapscallion like Jiminy Crockett.
America.
So they have words for each other.
Yeah, nothing like good old America and France.
Yeah.
Together.
So they're walking along, and then they get surrounded by the Dark Army drones.
Yeah, the skeleton-looking dudes.
Yeah. So Jiminy and George do the gentlemanly thing and tell Rain that they'll cover her escape, and she needs to run off down the safe passage.
Yeah.
So they start fighting them and everything, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool action scene.
Yeah, it's pretty cool seeing them team up for a change.
Yeah. And we follow Rain, and she's running along and finds a doorway, which leads her to the same platform that Master Asia was standing on, overlooking the Double Gundam. So, what were your thoughts when you up to this point?
Well, first thing was that I really enjoyed the different character dynamics we got. Like, we got some of the characters separated from each other, so we had a chance to see how they reacted to different characters that we're usually accustomed to, like Crockett and George. I thought that was interesting, like dichotomy that they had with each other. And actually seeing the Double Gundam be underneath Shiketsu was also pretty surprising, because we only ever really seen the Double Gundam in flashbacks or as
a phantom,
like a phantom, like a image or something like that. Yeah. So to actually see it be present and underneath the city that they were fighting in for so many episodes was a really big twist, big shock, because I was like, oh, it's actually there, it's right in front of them.
Yeah, especially since the Dark Army or the Devil Army kept coming from way on the outskirts.
Yeah,
instead of just popping up right there at the building.
Because I kept wondering why are there so many of them? Where do they keep coming from? And then why? Because the Devil Gundam was just summoning them all. No, I'm just going all right, go. Take care of that. I'm gonna nap. It's your job.
Yeah. Obviously, not a good situation for Rain to be in.
No.
So, our good friend Schwartzbruder.
Yeah, Schwartzbruder.
Yeah, he shows up and basically points her in the right direction to get out, and then he kind of holds off the drones that are trying to chase her. As she's running out, she bumps into Domon and Saisashi, and of course Master Asia's at the top of the stairs blocking their path. And he uses a sash to try and attack Domon, but Domon catches it. So that's where we get the standoff shot right here. Of course, Master Asia's doing his evil laugh and telling them that they have no hope of escape and all that fun stuff.
Casual villain talk.
Yeah. And but Domon holds him off, sort of, while Saisashi and Rain escape, and then the roof collapses in between them a little bit, and of course Master Asia does his vanishing act, so Domon heads out. Everybody finally makes their way outside, kind of catch up with the mayor and other civilians and military force.
I think they make their way outside because of the troops right there.
Yeah.
Find them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Some of them. Yeah, one of this group, they broke through the wall and helped them get out.
Yeah.
So, and then, they're kind of getting their bearings and figuring out what's going on and everything. And lo and behold, big explosion behind them. The big building starts splitting in half, and up rises the Double Gundam right in the center of it.
Yep, and he has gone through some changes.
Yeah, so
I got it.
So the big red dome that you see there, basically all the Devil Army like fused back together with the Devil Gundam, and that's
Yeah,
what created that bubble.
yeah, and that's what Rain saw when she came across the Devil Gundam. She saw the Dark Army getting like absorbed by it.
Yeah,
So
and so Domon's out there, and of course Master Asia's taunting him and everything, and Domon's still kind of in denial about everything, but he's trying to convince Master Asia to come back to the good side. The other guys, however, are ready to kick butt.
yeah, we're like, we don't care.
Yeah,
Kick her ass.
they're ready to get revenge for being brainwashed and everything.
Yeah.
So, but they don't they don't last very long at all.
No, Master Asia takes care of like each and every one of them with
Yeah.
relative ease.
Yeah, basically just kind of boop, 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 boop,
Yeah, just like
and they're out. So even Domon he finally gets in his cockpit, tries to fight Master Asia, and he gets knocked back.
yeah,
And Schwarzbruder pops up, and he's like, "All right, I'll show you how it's done."
yeah, and he actually puts Master Asia in the back foot, which is
Yeah.
surprising. Like, oh, okay.
So yeah, they go toe to toe, and
Yeah.
Master Asia has to back off.
Yeah,
Which-
and while they're fighting, Schwartz is telling Domon, "What are you waiting for? Do it. Go take care of the Double Gundam. I'll handle your master."
Yeah. So Domon's like, "All right, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan," and powers up, and goes to it. He goes to do his big shining finger slash, but at the last second, he gets a flash of his brother's face, and so instead of slicing the head of the beast, he plunges his energy blade into the red torso area, which ends up allowing it to absorb all the energy from his attack. And then we get this monstrosity.
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
And so basically, his attack, because of where he landed it allowed the Devil Gundam to absorb the energy to finish its metamorphosis. And yeah, it's a huge mess.
Yeah, it's just it's just an abomination. Really, there isn't really anything to describe it as. It's just
So yeah. And what's interesting is you got 3 heads. So way up here is the like normal looking Gundam.
Yeah.
And then this is the base that we always saw for it, which is another head. And then, and it had the like long serpent part underneath it. And then it goes into another head. It's like, what the heck, man?
I know.
And yeah, so basically everybody's stunned, and Master Asia and Dark Gundam laugh and just take off.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, everybody's bummed out, and Domon's, having a little hissy fit kind of thing because he failed to follow through with his attack. And,
Yeah.
realized,
When this man is basically having a mental breakdown, a mental crisis, if you will.
yeah. So, and that's the end of episode 16.
Yes.
And not a bad episode.
Yeah, not too bad.
Like I said, we got some good character development interaction between the different groups. So
Actually, I forgot to mention this too, but we also saw Kyoji as well in the episode. Like he himself actually showed up.
Oh yeah.
There.
He was sitting on the Gundam.
Yeah, he just never said anything. He was just quiet the whole time.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell at this point if that's actually him or just like a projection.
Yeah, true.
So,
Well, I don't know. It seemed like when Rain went there, she saw Kyoji, I think, too.
Yeah, but I mean, part of the thing with Master Asia and the Double Gundam is the illusions.
Oh, you're right. You could be right. Yeah, you could.
So,
Yeah, that's probably true.
but either way, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, episode 17 starts off, and Domon's determined to hunt down the Dark or the Double Gundam. The rest of the guys are like, "Yeah, have fun with that. We're out. Peace."
All right. Later, man. They all leave. I'm still surprised. I was like, oh, wow, they're all leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I guess that's the end of that team up.
Yep. So they skedaddle, and Domon and Rain are kind of figuring things out. We get the opening narrator, and I thought this was kind of a cool shot, so
Yeah.
pulled it. So with this episode, we see here that Domon's got a sword, but he's never had one. He actually gets a sword in this episode, which plays a factor into his development.
Yep.
And then, so we get cut to Master Asia and the Double Gundam in the army, again having a conversation underground somewhere, bragging about how weak Domon is, and
Yeah.
how they're
Devil will reign supreme over all.
yeah,
We're unstoppable. Yada 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 yada.
yep. And it's like they're all like zombies, man. Who are you preaching to?
I know. I'm like, do they even understand you? They're probably already. They're all dead, basically.
Yeah. The only one that may understand you is the Double Gundam, and I don't think it really cares. It's just happy that you're willing to help it out.
Yeah, it's just like I literally could crush you if I wanted to, but you're kind of useful, so I guess I'll spare you for now.
Yeah. So we cut to Domon, and he sees what he thinks is Master Asia. So he hops in his core or lander and takes off after it and follows it for quite a distance. Rain tries to follow after him. He ends up in a wooded area, and Schwarzbruder cuts in and kind of smacks him around. And is like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
He's like, you're following a trap, you fool. And it's a projection.
And yeah, so of course, someone's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I got my super mode. I could kill anybody. I could beat anybody. I'm good to go."
Yeah, and Swartz is like, okay then. If you say so.
So, but before Schwartz departs, he does a demonstration to show the difference in their power levels, and he uses the sword that's on his back to slice through a tree, like clean slice right above Domon's head. And the tree falls over, and then he tosses the sword to Domon, and he's like, "All right, you'll know you're ready to fight the Double Gundam when you can
use the
slice
sword
through a tree with this."
Yeah.
And when he pulls the sword out, it's actually like all rusted and chipped, and
yeah, that's why I think he tries cutting the tree also, and then that's when he notices like it's all chipped.
Yeah.
So like, how cut it if it was like just so rusted?
So that's a shot of him right there, making his first attempt to cut through the tree, and it just barely even cuts into the bark.
Yeah.
And so Rain's reporting in, of course, doing her due diligence as the mechanic. But of course, they get images of Master Asia, so Domon flies off the handle and starts chasing it again. And as they follow it along, they approach. They're like going up a mountainside. And while all this is going on, Master Asia is overlooking like everything and bragging about how he's positioning Domon into a trap and using the environment and elements and all like Sun Tzu's tactics for warfare. And eventually, Domon catches up to what he thinks is Master Asia. Turns out it's three of the Devil Army or Dark Army guys with costumes on. So,
Yeah.
perfect for Halloween.
Yes.
So better look at what they look like.
What are you going as? I'm going as a Dark Gundam. Oh, cool. Me too.
So they obviously they attack Domon and wrap him up in Master Asia's sash attack.
Yeah.
And Domon's like, "Oh, I got this. I can do this." And but he can't summon the super mode.
Yeah.
So,
They try to phone it out, but it's not coming.
yeah. So Schwarzbruder cuts in and slices up the three robots, and he's like, "You're pathetic. Told you weren't ready for this. You got to do more training." Which just pisses someone off. So he's like, "All right, I challenge you to a Gundam fight." And
Schwarzbruder's like, "Okay, bring it."
So, they start out with the little hand grappling, but quickly switches into Schwartz's favor, and he's just starts smacking Domon around, doing a flying jump, bicycle kick, like Liu Kang, and eventually launches some nets from his hands that ties Domon up to the side of the mountain.
Yeah, and he's got him like pinned against the wall, and he has that knife or that sickle, whatever, like right up next to the Gundam's neck. So he's just like, "You lost. I won't kill you. I'm not going to do that. But just know that it's over. You're beaten. Yeah. You're beaten, son."
So he takes off, leaving Domon tied up, and then Rain starts counting the dead Dark Army soldiers and realizes there's a fourth one. She's like, "What the heck?" And of course, it pops up and goes to attack Domon. He freaks out and manages to activate his super mode.
Yep.
So it gives him enough power to break free of the net. He rips off. I think he rips off the arm, and then grabs the head.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he crushes it after that. Just done.
So obviously he makes short work of it, and then he realizes, Schwartz was right. I got to do some more training if I'm going to, have a chance of, fighting these guys. So
yeah.
So we get this nice departing shot as they depart to head to his training grounds.
Yes. Until the next episode.
Overall thoughts of episode 17?
I enjoyed it. I like seeing more of Schwartz, seeing what he was capable of when his deal was, because we don't really get a clear view of what he was up to in the previous episode. So it was nice to see where he's like, no, he's fully on the good side. He's just trying to, he's acting more as a master to Domon than Master Asia is at this moment. So
there's a really cool twist with Schwarzbruder that gets revealed later on in the series. Okay. So I can't wait to see your reaction to that.
Oh, all right. I'm excited for that. That's cool. I know it was just cool seeing Schwarzbruder do some action, especially with him and Domon fighting each other. It's crazy how the difference in their skill was.
Yeah.
Schwarzbruder barely broke a sweat just fighting Domon, and Domon was just struggling the entire time with him.
Yeah.
So it just shows you no, this guy's at a whole different level. What
do you think of the Shadow Gundam design?
The Shadow Gundam.
That's Schwartz's Gundam.
Oh, I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's not my favorite design, but I think it is pretty decent looking. The one thing I think the biggest thing I like about it is just the sickles or the knives that he has.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like the way he just can like spin them and the way they can maneuver around his arms, I think is really neat.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think they could have, I don't know, like to me, I feel like it's just one of those Gundams that has kind of like a lesser design to it. Like it's not as extravagant to say as like, I don't know, let's go with George's Gundam or the Dragon Gundam. Like I don't think it's like design worthy as like those ones, but like it's still a good design. I think why it's like that is because I think of Fitz's Sports character where he's kind of like in the shadows because that's what he was doing at first. He was kind of invisible when he was like cloaking himself alive, stuff like that. So I think that kind of fits his character.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like it's a Ninja Gundam, but with a German motif.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, definitely. I can definitely see the ninja comparison right there.
Yeah. So there's a video games that I have. Let me see. Get, what's its name again? Where'd it go? Where's it? Called the SD Gundam G Generation Cross Race, and basically it kind of takes like all these different Gundam series and mashes them all together, and allows you to like collect Gundams and power them up and everything. And they actually have the Shadow Gundam, Master Asia's Gundam, and then Domon's next Gundam in it. And I think there's two others from the G Fighter series. One of them is a girl's Gundam that we'll run into later. And then the other one, I don't remember it from the series. So find out more when we eventually see it, I guess.
Okay.
But I thought it's pretty cool that we got the three main ones in there in that game. So
yeah.
Anyways, on to episode 18.
Yes.
So turns out Domon decides to go back to the area that him and Master Asia trained, where he spent multiple years with Master Asia learning martial arts and everything. Really nice landscape. There's waterfalls and rivers and everything.
No, it's beautiful. Yeah, some beautiful scenes in this episode, really. Well, for the next couple of episodes, because they're in this exact location for like a couple of episodes.
Basically, the rest of the episodes.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, that we're reviewing.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant we're going to be. The remainder of the series were left in this location. I'm like, oh.
No.
That's kind of disappointing.
No, after episode 20, they start going back into the.
Oh, okay. Then I was about to say, I was like, oh wow, all right. The budget, I guess. They're like, yeah, we can't draw any more landscapes. We can only draw forests now. What? All right.
Yeah. So as Dolan's talking and everything with Rain and stuff, he's kind of remembering his younger days. So I thought this was a pretty cool shot of Domon as a kid training with Master Asia.
Yeah, well, the good old days before Master Asia wanted to be a total jerk and betray him.
Yeah. So the focus of this episode, while we're seeing Domon train, we're also going to be focusing on Jiminy Crockett and him dealing with the aftermath of the confrontation with the Devil Gundam and Master Asia.
Yeah, and Crockett's going through some stuff.
Yeah. So it's pretty much opens up with him in the middle of a fight in New York. At least it looked like New York.
Yeah.
And,
do we know what Gundam he's fighting against? Or did they specify what country this is or no?
I forget. I don't know if they even really said it.
They might have not said it.
Yeah. But so, like I said, Jiminy's a bit distracted. As the guy is coming at him, he starts seeing Devil Gundam, kind of freaks out, which opens him up to getting put into this position.
Yeah, he literally has like a nightmare about like the Devil Gundam cells like coming, like literally like crawling up his arm and encasing him.
Yeah. So he starts freaking out and pulls out his guns and blasts both of its arms off.
Yeah, the
And
American
and then he gets up and just starts pummeling the head of the Gundam unit, and it takes his angels to break him up, like snap him back to reality.
Yeah, they're like, all right, enough. You got him. He's down.
And yeah, he ended up like destroying the bridge through
Yeah,
his actions and everything. And once he comes back to reality, he's like, "What the heck? Did I actually do this?"
he's like, what have I done? What have I
Uh,
done?
yeah. So he's kind of freaked out. The girls kind of feel like it's their responsibility to give him, kind of a fighting edge to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, they think that a strong opponent will snap him out of this thing. So they're like, who's the strongest guy we know? Delmon, let's go see him.
Yeah. So they take off, leave him a note, and they take off. And as they're traveling to where Domon's at, they kind of reminisce about their early days and how they met Jiminy. And
Yeah,
so they've been a group since they were teenagers.
yeah, they were delinquents.
Yeah, committing crimes and everything. And this is actually them like trying to get on a ship to go to the space colony because that was their dream as a group.
Yeah, they wanted to get off of Earth. I think was what is the reason why.
Yeah. And at this point, Jiminy walks out and he's like, I like the cut of your jib. So how about you girls come work for me?
Yeah, he says that they remind him of him when he was younger. So it was like, I like him. Come join me.
So so then it cuts to after this reminiscent, they end up tracking down Domon and his Gundam and everything, and he's in the middle of training, focusing on that. Rain's kind of bored watching him and falls asleep, which gives them an opening to sneak up and pull data from his Gundam. So while two of them are stealing data from the Gundam, Rain wakes up and catches the other two. They have a little bit of a standoff. She starts chasing all four of them, much to not to Domon's notice. And he's just, still going ham on training and everything.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even know that they're gone. He's just
You
so
know,
busy trying to train that he's just like, I am phasing out everything else.
and while all this is going on, Jiminy Crockett's on his way because he saw the note that they left for him, and he's like, pissed off that they took off.
Daddy!
Of course, their note was pretty scathing, and they were like egging him on to,
Yeah, well, that was their intention. They want him to come over and find so he can find them, but also come in contact with Domon so they can maybe get into a fight.
And so he makes his way, and then he ends up coming out of the woods right where Domon's training. And he sees Domon up on this branch doing this goofy pose, and so they both start exuding their fighting spirit, and so he challenges Domon to a fight. They agree, and then we cut back to the girls, and Rain catches up to these two because the force split up.
Yeah, and there was like a snake, and that girl with the glasses freaked out.
Yeah.
Screamed at it, and the other girl was like, "Why are you screaming?" She's like, "I don't like snakes." And it's just like, you have to scream at it though.
So Rain tackles both of them off of the edge of a cliff.
Rain tackles him like a football player. It's the funniest thing ever. She's like, "There you are," and it knocks him off the edge.
So they slide down, and the darker girl, she hurts her foot, like sprains it or something like that in the fall. So Rains ends up patching her up and everything, and Domon and Jiminy Crockett start their fight, and they're punching each other, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, they're going at it,
and of course a nice rainstorm starts, and then the girls realize, like the other two girls finally catch up to him, and so they're all talking, and then the ground gives way, and they're kind of trapped on basically a little island in this raging storm river.
Mm.
And let's see here. So then part of the waterfall breaks, causing like a mudslide.
Yeah, and it kind of like like it surrounds them almost. Like they're like pretty close to like dying.
Yeah.
Or getting away by the mudslide.
So the girls shout out for Jody Crockett. He puts a halt to the fight.
Yeah, and Dolman's just like, why are you stopping for? And he's like, dude, my girls are in trouble, and so is yours. And he's like, huh? And he looks behind him and he sees Rain, and she's calling out to him too. So they're like, oh crap. So then, both him and both Dolman and Crockett team up for a bit to kind of like stop the mudslide. Well, friggin' Dolman tries to stop it with the shining finger, but it does nothing.
Yeah, and Jiminy Crockett develops a new attack for this.
Yeah,
and he uses it to kind of split the waterfall, the wave that's coming at them, but it's not enough. And then Tomo, like once he realizes how much trouble Rain is in, it triggers the super mode, and he's able to basically create a barrier to keep the water split, so that way they're safe. And then Schwarzbruder shows up and he's like, well, looks like I didn't have to really intervene after all.
Yeah, I guess it's funny that he's in the corner somewhere, just like, all right, in a couple of minutes, I'll probably go out and help them if they can't take care of this. Oh, they got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he, puts the girls down and takes off again. They have a nice wrap up and get a nice little closing shot of two Gundams next to each other, and everybody, happy with the progress that was made in this episode.
Yeah, Crockett's just like, all right, cool. I got a new ability. Better use it, though. He's like, all right, I gained it. Doesn't mean I know how to use it. So, got to train like Belmont over here. So,
yeah.
Another good little ending, though. Little capper to the episode.
Yep.
Yes. Very good.
Jump into episode 19. Which you find out is going to be
Saisashi of the episodes.
Saisashi and Argo are going to have a confrontation in this one.
Yeah. The fact that, at the beginning when they said that it was going to be those two fighting, I was like, oh, already love it.
Yeah. Pretty
excited. Like, we're not getting a fight that involves Doma this episode? Thank God.
So it cuts to Rain doing maintenance on the Shining Gundam, talking about how there's like some circuitry that's not quite right, and so she's trying to figure out how to repair it so that way like the suit interaction works well.
Yeah.
And of course she takes a moment to look over at Domon, who's been jumping off the waterfall and like trying to attack the waterfall and doing all sorts of stuff, and that's his training.
Yeah, well, he tried to attack it this time, and he just gets swept away by it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what a shocker, dude. I'm trying to fight a freaking waterfall. What's wrong with you?
So it cuts to Saisashi and his two mentors. They're kind of hounding Saisashi about training and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm out of here, and he takes off running. Manages to find Dawn and Rain, and of course,
oh God,
pulls this little stunt.
Okay, so take a shot of this, but don't take a shot of the other woman. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's still clothed here. The other shot, not so much.
Yeah, at least that one's less awkward than this one. This is just like out of nowhere. Even if it's Saisashi, I'm like, okay, come on, dude. Really?
So
yeah, but we have a little.
So he basically bolts before she pummels him.
Yeah, but as he does that, freaking Belmont turned around at the exact same time that it happened and caught sight of it.
Yeah.
So he's just like as you can see from here, you don't really get a clear view of it, but he's like he's like blushing extremely hard. And she's like, "You saw it, didn't you?" And he's like, he doesn't say anything. He just like looks away. He's like, no.
Starts whistling.
Yeah, I loved how like this is the first time really we've ever seen Domon like that embarrassed before, like ever.
Yeah. So it cuts to evening time, and we see the Russians have their camp, and everybody's like kind of eating and stuff like that. And then it cuts to a little pond or river or whatever, and we see the lady commander swimming.
Yeah, swimming nude. Yeah, completely nude. And Sasashi is in the bushes eating some rice.
Watching.
Eating some food he stole from one of the Russians. Just watching. And she takes notice and she immediately grabs a Glock and just tries to shoot.
Because he's being a horny little teen, and he drops a spoon, which
that's right. And she's like, she immediately grabs the gun and just goes, "Oh!" and just starts shooting.
So he starts running and almost immediately runs face first into Argo, and Argo just gives him a nasty look, and he's like, "I'm gonna kick your butt," and does a pretty cool flying kick, which Argo just turns to him and is like, "Really?"
He's like, "You call that a kick?"
And so Saisashi is like, "All right, maybe I don't have what it takes." So he runs off, gets to the edge of a cliff, and realizes that he either has to go back past Argo or take a leap into the river. So he's ready to confront Argo again, but as Argo's staring at him, he starts envisioning the Double Gundam, which freaks him out.
Yeah.
Causes him to fall off. And
and Argo tries to catch him, but it's like, but he like falls off before he can.
So Argo, or the mentors for Saisashi, catch up to Argo's group, and it's like, "Hey, could you, we have a favor to ask of you."
Yeah, and the woman commander is like, "A favor," so kind of like leads off with that. But like we kind of get the gist of it, where it's kind of like they don't say it, but like from us watching the previous episode, we're kind of thinking to ourselves like, "Oh, is it gonna be like, you think you can have Argo fight Saisashi to get over that kind of trauma?"
Yeah. So then we cut to Saisashi getting patched up from his fall by Rain, and her lecturing him. The two mentors, kind of lecturing, egging him on. So he feels like everybody's going against him, so he pulls his shirt on and he's like, "I'm going to show you. I'm going to go off and do my own thing."
Yeah, I'm going to go face Argo.
Yeah.
I can take you.
So he gets in his suit. He goes and challenges Argo, and Argo's like, "Nope, not going to happen.
I'm not doing it."
And what I like about this shot is he's actually doing like what?
Yeah, he's like, "What?"
Through the Gundam.
And the Gundam is like even doing like that move. He's like, "What? Fight, man, let's go. Come on." Like he's doing like a bunch of like goofy poses and everything like that. And it's just, wow, okay.
So he ends up taking off because the commander's like, "Hey, are you the one that was in the bushes?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm out of here."
Leaves. He's like, "No, that was my twin. Bye-bye."
And then a little bit later, all of a sudden, the base gets set on fire. There's explosions and everything. And in the distance, they see what they think is the Dragon Gundam walking off after having done all this damage.
Yeah.
So Commander Lady's like, "All right, Argo, you don't have a choice. You're going and you're fighting Saisashi because you're still a prisoner. You have to do what I say."
Yeah, and so he gets in the boat Gundam and goes out to find Saisashi.
And Saisashi is actually back at like Dumble's base area, and Argo shows up and he's like, "All right, let's do this." And so he just jumps in his mech.
Yeah.
They start going at it.
Yeah. It's a really cool fight too.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome.
So get some good scenes. He uses his staff thing to pole vault over Argo. Argo ends up pulling out his ball and chain, go back and forth for a bit.
Swinging it around and tries to hit him with it.
And then, so Argo, Saisashi comes in for a close attack while Argo's in mid-swing. He manages to kind of get it back, and but Saisashi bats it and causes it to fly behind him to hit one of his staff flags.
Yeah, because he like started throwing them all around Argo, and so like it like comes back, and it almost kind of like wraps itself like around Argo's mech.
Yeah,
like,
and it actually wraps him up against like a
mountain, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, like a column.
Yeah, like it literally like wraps around his arm, and he's like pinned against it, and he can't like move it. So like literally, he's like, so Sasashi's is like, "Yay, I win!" And Argo's like, "Nope." Things rips the freaking arm off and just like freaking shoulder dashes freaking Sasashi.
In wrestling, that would be the spear.
Yeah, he just spears him basically. Just like knocks him back.
And so
really good animation, by the way. The animation in that scene was like really well done.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, all right, budget went up. Okay, cool.
So they're kind of both knocked out at this point. They're like not unconscious, but they're both breathing hard. They're both pretty well damaged and stuff.
Yeah.
And the true culprit shows up, which is Dark Army.
Well, at first, before that one shows up, like the Russian forces surround Domon. Two priests and Rain, because they're like, listen, Sasaki attacked us, so you guys are kind of in custody right now. But then, who was it? I think Swords
Bruder shows up.
Yeah, Swords shows up and he's like, no, that wasn't Sasaki. It was him. He points up and you see the imposter, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. But both Argo and Sasaki are both tired, so then
Domon steps up.
Yeah, Domon steps up and just,
So they have their little fight, and then Domon does the shining finger on it, causes it to blow up, and everybody's happy.
Yep. All as well as ends well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so at the very end, you get like this nice little reconciliation between Sasashi and Argo, where Sasashi's like, "Listen, sorry about all I did back there," and Argo's just like, "Whatever, it's fine."
Yeah.
Just walks off.
He does talk about why he refused to fight Saisashi at first.
Yeah, he wasn't at 100%.
Yeah.
He's like, it wouldn't have been honorable for me to fight you if you were like weakened. I want to fight you at your best.
Yeah. So that's what helps them gain more respect for each other.
Yeah.
So on to episode 20.
Yes.
Finally get to see the French colony. France colony.
I love how there's a freaking. I didn't notice this. I like how there's a freaking French bow wrapped around.
Well, if you notice, it's basically a bouquet of roses.
Oh god damn! Oh my god, are you serious? I didn't even notice any of this. This is my first time noticing. Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's like we're all the
a little bit on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? How do what? Forget it. I'm not. We've gone to 20 episodes now. I'm not going to question stuff.
So we find out this episode's going to focus on George, and we get a little bit more of his backstory, which involves this other character in the shot. It's actually pretty interesting, because we find out why he was chosen.
Yeah. And what's the opponent's name? Is it like Viron?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
I just watched it a couple hours ago and I can't remember it.
Yeah, was it Baron or something? It sounds like it might have been. No. Let's start with a V. Whatever.
Yeah.
Purple man, purple guy.
So it opens up with George practicing with his butler, and his butler's mech is controlled by a giant steering wheel.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I'm like, you're driving a
funniest
car.
thing.
I'm like, how the hell does that work? Mechanics of this exactly.
And it's like a big rig's steering wheel.
Yeah, he's
You know,
just
it's
like
not like a little thing. It's huge.
yeah, he's like trying to like drive it.
Yeah. So they're practicing and everything. And
At one
George
point,
is
at one point, George knocks his butler down, and as his butler's trying to get back up, there's like a quick flash of the double Gundam, and George just starts freaking out.
yeah.
He's like, "Oh my god!"
So they break apart, and they're having a meal, and Rain shows up.
Mademoiselle, as George calls him.
Yeah.
Or her.
And then as they're talking and everything, George realizes that his butler, what was his name?
Raymond.
Raymond.
Yeah, has been like meeting up with Rain and Dolman, trying to like see if they could come over and like help George out. And George is basically not very fond of that. He's like, "You have been going beyond my back."
Yeah. So Rain's like, I'm going to take that as my cue to leave.
Yeah, and she literally just runs away.
And then, George fires Raymond because he's like, you've disgraced my family name. So you're
Is he firing? Wait, is he firing him in this one? I thought they fired him later in the episode.
No, it was pretty early because he.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Because then he goes and gets drunk on coffee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
And but while he's let's see here. Was it? Let's see. Yeah. So.
Oh, but this is Dolman's practicing right now.
Yeah.
And Raymond shows up and he's like, please, just go help George out, please. I've been fired, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna stop caring for him. So just please go just check up on George. So he just like comes out and just kind of like asks for their help.
Yeah. And then he goes to the bar and he starts drinking.
Yeah. Like Rain and both Rain and Dolman go visit George before George has his like little nightmare.
Yeah, so he falls asleep at the dinner table and he has this nightmare of his princess getting abducted and him getting like taken over by the G cells again.
Yeah.
And so Raymond is telling Rain and Dolman about how George was selected. And so there was basically a tournament that they had a year before the tournament started. And it was to determine who would be the champion for France.
Yeah, and it was between George and that guy in the opening, the purple one.
And so as they were fighting, the purple guy kept moving himself to where like his attacks would hit the audience that was watching. Yeah. If George didn't block it or no, he would purposely step in front of the audience so that way George couldn't use his ranged attacks.
Yeah, and like eventually the committee that were watching them, they were like, all right, enough. They like looked at the purple guy and they're like, all right, enough of this. Like, you keep doing this. Like, the fighting style is disgraceful.
Yeah.
So they basically end the match. Or they like give they like tell George, you're going to be the one who's going to represent us.
Yeah, which pisses off the other guy. So he launches his like missile barrage, and George tries to stop him, but it's not in time before it blows up the stands and causes him to like freak out.
Yeah.
And so this is something he's been living with for like the whole last year. And basically the confrontation with the Double Gundam is like playing havoc with his mind as well. So Dome and Rain are kind of like, that's a pretty crazy story. I remember hearing about that incident and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they go and meet with George in the morning. And as they're talking with him, Raymond hears about the broadcast about the purple guy escaping from prison.
Yeah, and so immediately when he hears that, he's like, "Oh!" So he like goes and grabs his little driving Gundam, I guess. I don't know what the frick to call it.
His Butler Gundam.
His Butler Gundam. There you go. And like running to go find George and the others.
And so the bad guy shows up. He blows up the tent that George was using for his meals, and challenges George.
Yeah, but George can't really do anything right now because he's literally freaking out. Like he's in shock, like absolute panic, because he's just being reminded of like that day.
So, and it doesn't help that when the guy lands, he basically starts transforming and gets like this attack pod on his back, revealing that he's accepted the dark G cells.
Yeah, because he got hit, I think, because the helmet of the Gundam got hit at some point and then immediately repairs. And Domon's just like, I think Domon jumps in his own.
Yeah, he punches him because.
Yeah, and then that's when it repairs. And Domon's like, wonderful. And he's like, yes, I was accepted by Devil Gundam.
So Doma goes to like finish the guy off real quickly and activates his shining finger, but Schwarzbruder cuts in and is like, no, George has to do this fight on his own.
Yeah.
And so George and the other guy start fighting, and George goes berserk, gets the upper hand, and basically just starts he pins the guy on the ground and rips the arm off.
Yeah. You forgot to mention too, what makes it go berserk is because when he's still like not in his Gundam, Raymond shows up in his own Butler thing, but like I think comes in between an attack from the purple guy and gets hit, like really badly, and so that makes George pissed off, and so that's when he like gets in Gundam and he starts ripping apart the purple guy's thing and just starts punching him and pounding him over and over again until like Raymond, until Domon shows up and like puts him, like stops him. He's like, all right, enough, it's over. And he's like, no, I need to finish it. But then as he's yelling, Raymond cuts in and he's like, no, enough.
Yeah. So George finally kind of snaps out of it, and he's like, I got to be worthy of this crest that I have. So he pulls the cockpit out.
Yeah,
and like uses the crest to cure his enemy of the dark G cells.
Yeah, he just like burns it all away.
Yeah, and that's what this shot is him.
Yeah, it's him holding the guy up, and he's like burning all the cells away to help him.
And so after that, they basically say their farewells, and Domon swears to continue his training because he's like, I gotta get to that next level.
Yeah, but he's seeing I think what gives him motivation is that he's seeing all these other people get past their trauma or trying to like overstep their trauma. So it's just like, if they're going the extra level, then I have to do so as well. So that kind of like gives them that extra oomph to keep going.
And that's the end of episode 20.
Yes.
Overall thoughts, final thoughts.
Good episode. I liked it. I like getting some more backstory on George. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a very traumatic backstory. I was like, oh wow. Like I was actually kind of taken back with the people dying. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, people actually died. I'm like, okay, that's dark. And you could still hear literally people screaming, like even through George's like cockpit. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. It was pretty cool though when George got into his Gundam and he was using his rapier to slice through the bad guys' missiles and stuff.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Yeah, that whole scene of him going berserk was really neat.
Yeah,
because I've really seen George like get to that like level
Loses
of
cool.
anger. So to see him do that, you're like, oh, okay, whoa. Hang on. Even Domo was like, hey, buddy, cool it.
So yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you for everybody that popped in while we were talking about it. Again, if you're watching this video up to this point, we thank you for checking us out. Do make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We are trying to grow our channel. Do appreciate it. Please share it, and don't hesitate to leave a comment about series you'd like us to talk about or anything. We'll definitely consider it for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said at the beginning, next week we're going to be talking about episodes 21 through 25, and then the week after that we're going to do a synopsis of the comedy series called Cromartie High School. So definitely don't want to miss that. It's if you've never heard of it, it's a funny series. Not anything to like take seriously, but it's just a good, fun, goofy kind of little series. Each episode's only like 10, 11 minutes a piece. So, just kind of quick punchlines kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that, and then that week we'll reveal which movie we're going to review the following week.
Yes.
So please join us again next Friday, 8 p.m. Central Time, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.